Hey everybody, and welcome to the video on how to deal with whiny family members or friends. My name is Dawn Bennett with Touch Remedies. I'm your energetic relationship and emotional expert, and I've been working with clients for over 23 years. So one of the problems that I see is everyone has a friend or a family member or somebody that they know that talks about the same thing over and over and over and over and over. They don't really seem to do anything to change it. And then you, as their friend or as their family member, have to listen to it over and over. And maybe you offer suggestions or you say, hey, I've got somebody that can help you. And they don't really ever take you up on it. They don't do anything different. And they just don't listen. But they want to whine about it. It feels like their choice is to whine. And you start reacting like, oh my God, why are they talking about this again? Why are they talking about this again? Just do something about it. Maybe you get frustrated. Maybe you get annoyed. Have you ever become frustrated with somebody? Yeah. That's why it's so important to step back and see, what are they getting out of this interaction? So imagine this now, that as they start complaining about the same thing over and over again, you pause and you really listen to them in a different way than you ever have, and say something along the lines of, I hear what you're saying, and that sounds really challenging. What is it that you actually need? So change the way that you're reacting to them. Because if you're like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Maybe they don't want advice. Maybe they just want to be heard. Maybe they want to be acknowledged. So now imagine instead that they start whining about something. They start telling the same old story, the same old story, the same old story. And now you're present in a different way. You're able to give them what it is that they're looking for. And they actually feel heard. They feel connected. They feel like you care about them. And when you change, everything around you changes, right? Wayne Dyer said, change the way you look at things and change the way you look at things and the things you look at change, right? So when you start reacting in a different way, instead of being frustrated and annoyed, when you don't play the same role that you've played for years, or months, or weeks, or just even a few days, but when you change, it forces them to change. When you don't get triggered, they're allowed to receive what they need. So now you can support them. You can come from a place of emotional stability instead of anger, frustration, annoyance. If you need to, do some tapping, do some journaling. Why is it frustrating you? What in you is also being triggered by their whining, by their saying the same story over and over again? Right? Where does that resonate with you? So how many of you like the idea of, instead of reacting to somebody that's saying the same thing over and over and over again and whining, to really being present with them? So imagine this instead. Imagine that you go to see your mom, right? And she's like, how are you today, Mom? She's like, oh, my joints, they hurt all over. And just, ever since I've had that surgery, things haven't been the same. And you're like, oh my goodness, she says the same thing. Mom, why don't you go to the doctor? Oh, I went to the doctor and they did this. Mom, why don't you take? No, I don't want to do that. Right? And you can start offering advice without really being present. Maybe the only way she's feeling loved in that moment is to have someone really hear her and say, wow, that sounds like that's really painful, Mom. I'm sorry you're going through that. Maybe that's what she needs to feel loved. So imagine now that by changing your reaction, you help a person that you care about feel more loved, feel more wanted. How many of you like the sound of that? So if that feels interesting to you, subscribe, hit that bell. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm Dawn with Touch Remedies, your relationship and emotional expert.